I questioned the red eye.
I saw it with you. I started to look it up. You're on it. So what'd you discover?
I went to Kayak and I was like, let me search all flights, directs. There's only a 9:55 a.m. on Southwest that's a daily that will get you there direct from Buffalo. I doubt my man Matt Prater.
Maybe he flew private
overnight. Unless he's flying on a PJ. All right, welcome into Scoop City on a Monday, presented by eBay. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm James Palmer. I said it's a Monday. That means we have Chase Daniel. It is a Monday morning quarterback. I know that's overused. I know it's used every week and everywhere, all across the internet. But Chase, we got to use it because we have our quarterback with us on Monday to break everything down. Dianna Russini's with us as well, the Athletic Senior NFL Insider. How are we doing? We had our first NFL Sunday, people.
Excited about it. It was, woke up this morning and it's first NFL full slate plus college. And I woke up and I'm like, man, I'm just thinking about all these fan bases, right? Like, how are they feeling in the morning? It's total overreaction. And I just was happy, man. Like, fall's here, football's here. Let's freaking go.
Imagine those people that went to bed last night watching Sunday Night Football who thought that the game was over. That's what I was thinking about when I woke up. Of like, thank goodness I stayed up for this one. Not that I would miss it, but look, we knew it was going to be a good one. I had no idea it was going to be like that because there's so many other games earlier in the day that, I mean, the games were fine. Nothing had that type of electricity. No. Nothing came close.
No, nothing came close.
That's why being on the West Coast, it was only 8:15 when the game was still going. I'm like, oh, dude, this is like, I'm just not getting in bed. The kids are done. It's like almost midnight where you guys are at. So I'm like,
I know. I always talk about that younger fan base, right? There's got to be kids who are exhausted sitting in school today because, they stayed up with their mom and dad watching the Bills or the Ravens last night. So I know, Chase, I do think about you a lot on Sunday Night Football. Like,
West Coast.
He's definitely just eating dinner right now.
5:20 p.m. start. Like, you just have dinner on. Like, come on, man. Kids are in the pool.
I'll tell you guys, there's kids in Buffalo that are exhausted in school right now that are ecstatic, and there's kids in Baltimore that are in school right now that are also exhausted and absolutely miserable. This is what we're going to go through today. We're going to talk about maybe the best game of the season already happened in week one for the ages with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. We're also going to talk about Justin Fields and Daniel Jones, Extreme Home Makeover Quarterback Edition. Are these guys back? We'll see. Also, Aaron Rodgers, is he really going to do this? We'll also check out the Sundae Scaries. Look under the bed. See if Jackson Dart's going to come out and freak everybody out. We're also going to talk about some debuts, whether it's a coach in a new spot, a player in a new spot, or a rookie who really impressed us. But we're going to cut to the chase right here. Chase, two quarterback performances maybe for the ages. Lamar started it. Josh Allen finished it. It was the first time we've ever had the quarterbacks that finished 1-2 in the MVP voting, starting off the season, squaring off against one another. It started with Lamar, like I mentioned. It ended with Josh. What's your initial take on how this thing played out?
The first thing I noticed in Google search was scoregami. It is the 1069th unique NFL score in the history of the game, 41-40. I'm a big scoregami person, if you didn't know. But on the field, it was just the patience of Josh Allen. Because, and you're like, well, patience, what are you talking about? Well, Lamar took over early in the game. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry took over early, really, and late in the game. Zay Flowers, career high and receive. Everything was going the opposite direction. And Josh, for all that he did, winning the MVP last year, earlier in his career, he would have pressed. He would have, hey, I need to get all this. I need to get 15-point deficit back in one throw. And just seeing the maturation process of him as a quarterback, that's what really stood out to me. There was no panic on the sideline. And even Josh, which I thought was awesome, called out his own fans, Buffalo fans. You don't ever see them leaving the stadium. They're down 15. You have Josh Allen. You have a good team. Thought Keon Coleman played well. Thought Josh Palmer played well. But when they needed to play the most, a guy by the name of Josh Allen, MVP Josh Allen, shined the brightest on the biggest stage, and just a comeback for the ages. 250 plus passing yards in the fourth quarter. What are we talking about? So when you watch his game and you watch just how they started, which they started well, and then just really all the adversity they faced, right? It was like 3 2-point conversions that did not count. Like other thing, they have a brand new kicker that got there on a red eye on Thursday, supposedly. James,
I questioned that.
I saw it.
I questioned the red eye.
I saw it.
With you. I started to look it up. You're on it. So what'd you discover?
I went to Kayak and I was like, let me search all flights, directs. There's only a 9:55 a.m. on Southwest that's a daily that will get you there direct from Buffalo. I doubt my man Matt Prater.
Maybe he flew private
overnight. Unless he's flying on a PJ.
He could be.
Maybe PJ
he could be. So,
Chase,
PJ did
on Saturday when you were in the booth working and calling the Mizzou game, I had like this 2-hour window. It was pouring rain here in New Jersey, and I was like, I just want to put on a good bad movie and just take a quick nap. So I put on Rocky IV, and
good bad. You mean good?
I mean good, amazing, best one.
I'll take.
And meanwhile, on Sunday night, when I was watching the start of that Ravens-Bills game, I felt like I was watching Rocky IV again, and it was Apollo versus Drago, right? Because it felt like it was a boxing match, and the Bills didn't look like they were in the same weight class. That's how I saw it. And then somehow in the end, they were the Bills turned into Rocky, and were able to come out with it. But I think for me, and look, you touched on a lot of good Buffalo. I have concerns about the Ravens. And this is just because we all know about this Ravens defense and how we look at them and the respect that they've demanded, because they've been so elite and so good for so many years. They've got such a swag to them and attitude. You think Baltimore, you think defense. That no matter how good Lamar Jackson is, right? That is just what they are built on. And to have the Bills score as many points as they did late in the game, that has got to be just embarrassing for this organization, knowing that this is not what they do. This is not what they're built on, especially considering the fact that, coming into the season, I was told his defense looked good and that they were stellar. So to have a performance like that, I have some concerns.
Well, especially closing out games. I think that's sort of what John Harbaugh, right? Blown 17. I have this stat. 17 double-digit second-half leads. Ooh. That's the most by any coach since at least 1991. We don't even have stats to go back after that. The thing about me is I try really hard the first really 4 weeks of the season. Dianna, you know this, doing the show with us the last year. It's it's the first quarter of the season, really, because they're 17 now. It's whatever, 0.22% of the season. It's hard not to overreact, because a team really gets their identity in the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season. But when the way they started, right, Dianna, last game, it was excellent. And their defense played really well for 3 quarters, but they didn't finish. And I think the finish, right, what you said, that's the most important part, because it's been the same old Ravens who look amazing in the regular season. And they just continue to have excuse after excuse after excuse on why they haven't reached the Super Bowl. Oh, it was Patrick Mahomes. Well, you got him at home. Oh, last year, Lamar's first half of the playoff game, and he played good in the second half. It's just about putting 4 quarters together when it matters most. And that's what we haven't seen Baltimore do for everything that they've looked. And I sent out a tweet last night, and I got a lot of grief for it. I was like, hey, these are 2 of the best teams right now in the AFC. And it's when the Bills were trailing by 20 or whatever it was at one point in the game. And I'm like, just wait and see. It's a heavyweight fight. And
did you call this, James? You called the comeback?
I didn't call the comeback.
With 1% chance of it happening?
I thought that those 2, the way they've looked, even though Lamar was crushing Josh early in the game, I felt really good about both of these teams coming into the year. I still feel good about them. Like them with the Chiefs, those are the 3 best teams in the AFC right now. And it's not even close.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you see that stat that for the Baltimore Ravens since 2021, 9 different times they had a 90% chance of winning? 9. They've lost all of them. They have lost 9 different.
I don't trust them.
So then what is that, right?
Breaking.
So let's pull this back. What is the reason the Baltimore Ravens take the foot off the pedal and lose these games? Is it a combination? Yeah. Is it special team decisions? Is it effort? Is it lack of turnovers by this defense? Because that's something they could have used last night.
No doubt. And when you really look at it, it's every single game. That's why I'm not huge on analytics. I think it's great to use this 90%, whatever. It's just they don't have the they don't have the killer mentality. Like when Sean Payton, when I played for Sean Payton and even Andy Reid, he was like, the one thing we will do, we will never, ever let up. Now, we've lost some games that we shouldn't too, but it's just bringing that mentality into the game. And you can have the mentality, but as soon as you hear like an offensive coordinator call a run, when you're up 15, you're like on third down, you're like, what are we doing? Like they ran zone read on third down with Lamar, and Lamar was great, but a couple of those times, like Joey Bosa, for how many times he got beat around the edge, I just thought the play calling down the stretch, specifically offensively, wasn't great. And then the communication on defense, specifically for the Ravens in the fourth quarter, because they were going, Buffalo was going more up tempo, and it really just caught them off guard. Like they didn't know that they would be going up tempo. And when you go up tempo on offense, sometimes defensively you have one or two calls, and they kept hitting the seam routes and some soft little completions to Keon Coleman outside and Josh Palmer outside and all this stuff. And obviously Josh uses a scrambling ability, but it's just got to be that killer mentality to finish these games. Because if you're a Ravens fan, you're waking up like, man, we look good, but it's the same old Ravens. Like what showed me anything different, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is tremendous to think, because week one is so much about the fake, right? Like, I wrote about it in my column on Saturday. I had somebody sharing with me that the hardest part about figuring out this month, it's not even just week one, it's September. Not a lot of tape out there. No one really knows what to prepare for. No one knows what they look like. Yet here you have the Bills and the Ravens. And to me, they were the closest to what I think we're going to see. Like they were the realest of all the teams that we probably watched over the weekend, James.
Good point.
100% right. 100% right. And sometimes it also isn't their fault. Sometimes you're doing a game with 92 camera angles and Isaiah Likely's toe hits the end line and you don't win those games. All sorts of things happen at the end of games for Ravens, it seems like. One quick note that stood out to me, guys. You mentioned him a couple of times, Chase, and that was Keon Coleman. He was a big question mark coming into this season. He almost seemed like he left the game as an exclamation point. They haven't been able to attack outside the numbers. I've talked to a number of defensive coordinators last year where it was like, they're so predictable. They're between the hashes. It's Khalil Shakir. It's both tight ends. It's James Cook. They have nothing outside. Well, he led them in catches, yards, targets. I mean, he was somebody that Josh Allen looked like he trusted and was looking for in key places. That's a big development, I think, to this offense as they try to take another step. You guys mentioned the ends of the game. Before we move on to Aaron Rodgers, the fourth down, should they have gone for it? It's heavily debated. I want to put us there. They complete a ball to DeAndre Hopkins on 3rd and 9. It ends up being 4th and 3, I believe. Yes, 4th and 3 from the Bills, 38. So they're already in field goal range if you don't convert this, with 1:33 left. The Bills have no timeouts. Do you go for it, Chase, or do you punt it away like the Ravens did?
Yeah, the Ravens still had 3 timeouts at that point, and the field position is what was a little bit tricky on that, because if you turn it over on downs, the Bills, who needed a field goal, were already in field goal range, right? So that was the decision. So I like that he punted it. Now hindsight's always 20/20. I don't
defense, right? Like you make that decision because you want
everything about Dianna said about the defense. I mean, why wouldn't you punt?
Yeah. And I like it. I don't love it. And I'm going to tell you why I don't love it, Dianna, is because of the Ravens defense, the way they were playing in the fourth quarter. They couldn't stop Josh Allen at all. If you get that first down, game over. Right? At least you have 3 timeouts and Lamar Jackson in a 2-minute offense if Buffalo settles for a field goal. And we've had a situation like this before. I'm not exactly sure of the game, but do you remember the game? It might have been the Chiefs a couple years ago where Lamar's on the sideline, or Lamar's on the field, and it's 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, and Harbaugh's sending the punt team, and Lamar just weighs him off like, no, like I want to go. And Harbaugh's like, all right, call the timeout, let's go for it. Now, it's the first game of the year. I get it. You're probably playing the percentages, right? I think they had a 99% chance of winning at that point. But I can see a way and a reason if this happens again. Like if this were against the Chiefs, we've seen people against the Chiefs, we're going for it. We're not giving Patty Mahomes the ball back, right? Yeah. And it's like, well, you should start thinking of Josh Allen in the same sentence as you do Patty Mahomes, because dude's a closer. Like you have to play different against the Buffalo Bills. You have to play different even against the Ravens and Lamar. So I don't second guess it. I don't love the decision. I'm okay with it.
Okay. Okay. I will say this. Lamar Jackson apparently was cramping, was not really himself. If you have the legs of Lamar Jackson, are you thinking differently? If you had the legs of Lamar Jackson on third down, Chase, are you having a different play call on third? Because apparently he wasn't really himself moving with cramps in the legs. So maybe that impacted it. I'm just playing the maybe game a little bit. We'll see. What also stands out to me, and I'll just say this very quickly, with 7:36 left in the game, do you remember the Ravens punting it? And a brilliant 59-yard punt goes down to the 1.
Oh, that's so
and
dumb.
Trenton Simpson slides into the end zone, a bonehead play. That would have forced Josh Allen to go 99 yards on that drive.
Yes.
Now, it doesn't mean you wouldn't have stopped him, right, Chase? But it would have taken more time off the clock for sure. A 99-yard drive compared to...
Here, just like dumb plays. I like those moments.
Nothing pisses me off more.
It pisses you off because you're a former player, but as a fan of it, I am like... I like to laugh at it like, oh,
why are you
that was
diving?
bad.
Just swat it back. Swat it back.
No, don't even swat it back. The ball was dying. Just pick the ball up.
It was brutal. So we ended up, Josh Allen goes 10 plays and scores and goes 80 yards, and they score with just under 4 left. Even if he scores on that drive, how much time would have been left if it was a 99-yard drive?
The reaction after the game, too, from the Bills locker room was tremendous. Like Joey Bosa calling it I think he said it was the happiest he has ever been after a game in his life. Like, that's tremendous to hear that reaction. It's week 1, right? And look, maybe it was a little
Dianna,
bit of
he spent most of his career or all of his career with the Chargers, so I think that's enough said on how he felt after the game.
Chase, I've always wondered this, and you've been part of some big wins before in your career. You know, Buffalo's up late last night. By the time they shower, they get home. You know, it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. How do you sleep?
It's impossible.
How do you sleep after?
Yeah.
I talked to some people in Buffalo this morning, and they were up. It was like 5:15.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're up, but they don't. It didn't sound like they slept.
It's really hard. When you start the season. First of all, like the endorphins are rolling, the nerves are rolling, the adrenaline's rolling, like everything's rolling, and then when you win it like that, like it's really hard as a player to shut off your mind because you're so amped up, you're so hyped up, and you just keep replaying the game, especially if you lose. But if you're winning, you're just like you're on a high, right? And it's hard to come down, and you sort of feel crappy the next 2 days. But luckily, this isn't Monday night, because I've had a Monday night where you're like, oh my God. And then Tuesday, you're right. It's just like, it's the worst. At least it was Sunday night.
Well, the Bills got the Jets coming up this week, so we'll talk about more of that next week.
Too soon, Dianna, but you did lead us into our next topic. And this guy might have stayed up a little while, but if he did, we know he had a couple of fingers of scotch with him. That's Aaron Rodgers. That's what he does after a win. And he went in and faced his former team, the Jets, and came away with a 34-32 win. And we love petty on this show, and we do know that Aaron Rodgers can be just that from time and time again. Here's Rodgers after beating his old team.
You spoke about the meeting with Aaron Glenn on McAfee a few months ago. Beating him, is there significance in that, since he basically told you to your face that he didn't think you were right for that team?
Yes, that's what he did.
So there's significance in beating him for you?
I was happy to beat everybody associated with the Jets. It was nice to win, especially, hearing some of the cat calls out there and the boo birds. I'm not sensitive about that. I expected that, I kind of like that. But there were probably people in the organization didn't think I could play anymore. So it was nice to remind those people that I still can.
Ooh, me out.
Why are his eyes popping out of his head? You see his eyes? Like, what are we doing?
I know, but I loved his answers.
I love it. I love it, Chase. He goes 22 of 30 for 244, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 4 sacks, hit 7 different receivers, nobody more than 5 catches. So he spread it around quite a bit.
Yeah.
I talked to a Steelers source this morning who said, we have a lot of work to do offensively, but Aaron was born to spin it. What did you see from Aaron Rodgers, 41 years old, as they embark in this 2025 season and hopefully try to get over the hump in Pittsburgh?
I
honestly,
was there, Chase, so I'll tell you.
Yeah, what was it?
Jason.
No, what was it? You were there? Hold up. You were there?
Yeah,
she was there.
Yeah.
Tell me something good.
I know, I didn't text you from the game. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that let's just start with the booze, like when he came out of the tunnel. It's still weird to see him in a Steelers uniform. Not that it was ever normal to see him in a Jets uniform, but to see him in a Steelers uniform at the home of the New York Jets, all of that was a little weird and bizarre, but the fans were booing for sure. There was definitely some claps, but there was like a good amount of Steelers fans there. But the image I think that probably stood out the most for me was at the end of the game after Evan Washburn did his interview with Rodgers. Cam Hayward and Mike Tomlin always stay on the field last, like they walk off. They are the last people to leave the field no matter who's getting interviewed. And they waited for Rodgers. And the three of them just walked back into the locker room together, and they didn't say anything to each other. They just walked with so much just oomph and swag and confidence.
Gusto.
And three studs that just, beat a Jets team that surprised me, by the way. That was the most exciting version of the New York Jets I have seen in 2 years. So while, yes, there's lots of noise about that Aaron Rodgers went out there and played well, and I was told, and James, so were you, that he had a really sharp training camp. I had one person there say he looks like he's 30 again. So he's been playing really well, and we saw it on the field against a Jets defense that didn't show up as much as I expected with Aaron Glenn being the head coach. It was their offense that stood out to me. I thought, especially with some of the injuries that they had on the offensive line, I thought this was just going to be a run game, and they were going to be able to shut down Justin Fields and just, force him to throw the ball, and he threw the ball fine. He was fantastic.
He played great. He played well enough to win.
Played so well.
He did.
So I feel like both fan bases, even though there's no moral victories, I think for the Jets fans, they've got to be happy with that. And I know it's painful for them, but they've got to be.
And going back to Rodgers, right? First, and then I definitely want to talk Fields. I'm a big Fields fan.
Oh yeah, James.
We're gonna talk Fields.
Chase was all about Justin Fields last year. He did not agree with Mike Tomlin pulling him for Russell Wilson. Dumb. And come on,
he's not alone. There's people in that building that didn't want him to pull. You're telling those
Steelers people who believed in Justin Fields weren't watching that yesterday on the sidelines going, "I told you," right?
1,000%.
Definitely.
But yeah, getting back to the old man, because he didn't look old, and he looked 30 playing. And I think the biggest thing for an Aaron Rodgers-led offense, and you got to give credit to Arthur Smith too, it's like Aaron's going to have a say in everything that they do, right? And the way they operated, the way he operated within the system was really impressive. And it's not just because he's one of the better quarterbacks to ever play the game, but like, to be in a new offense, he signed pretty late, to go through training camp, to get on the same page with the receivers, and to be able to spread the ball out. Like that's when Rodgers was his best in Green Bay. Like when he won all those MVPs, they had a crew of receivers, right? No first round receivers I don't think he ever played with in Green Bay, that the Green Bay Packers drafted him. But like it's always the quick game. Like ball's always coming out. Like he's always, James and Dianna, he's always taken a lot of sacks. He's really never thrown a lot of interceptions. Like that's sort of his calling card. He'd rather take a sack than put the ball in harm's way. And I'm fine with that. But if you're the Steelers, man, and you wake up this morning and you watch the tape, like I think the defense will get better. I just think Justin Fields play well, but like you got to be pretty dang excited about having an offense. Now, I know it's 1 week, but my goodness, like they were multiple and different looks. The way Aaron Rodgers threw the football, he was really good too. It wasn't just like in garbage time. The game was close the whole game. And he made throws down the stretch where I'm like, man, that's vintage Aaron Rodgers. And it looked good. It looked smooth. Everything about it, man, I was impressed. Like I did not expect that going into week one, at least, because usually it takes 4 to 5 weeks for an offense to get going. But for him, man, it was impressive.
Yeah, Mike DeFabo, our Steelers reporter, actually wrote about that on Monday morning, that this wasn't a Steelers offense that was constructed around Aaron Rodgers. They were trying not to be reliant on him, knowing that he's on the opposite side of 40. Or on the wrong side of 40. Talking about botching that saying. Yeah, James, we are not good at sayings on this show.
I'm going to keep learning. I'll keep using your sayings instead of the ones that are actually out.
That's what you should. The opposite. What is the opposite side of 40? 20.
30.
So DeFabo just, highlighted that. And then, yesterday what we saw on the field was an offense reliant on Aaron Rodgers. And that seems to be okay.
Yeah, it does. And listen, we have to remember, even though Aaron wasn't there, My understanding is Arthur Smith and company were building this offense for Aaron that entire time because it was known that he was going to be there. So they were spending their time doing it. But I think you're right, Chase. A perfect blend of what Arthur does, putting him under center some, and what Aaron does, right? And letting him play out of the gun and doing some of those things. I think we forget some of Arthur's background where he worked with LaFleur in Tennessee before LaFleur went to Green Bay. And so there's some carryover language-wise. There's some carryover between him working with Matt Ryan and working with a quarterback that plays a little bit more similar to controlling everything at the line of scrimmage and being maybe a little less mobile. And I think that's part of it as well.
Here's the bad thing, though. Like we're so great on Aaron, and it started well, and everything's great. And Aaron actually played, really good. They have to find a run game because Aaron's not going to be able to do this every week, and they have to find like that offensive line. To me, was a bottom 5 offensive line last year in the league, and 4 sacks, not great. Like multiple times he's had to scramble out. They got to figure that out too. Like if they can figure out offensive line play and get somewhat of a run game to complement Aaron, then that's when I would feel really good as a Steelers fan.
Okay, Chase, can we get a quick thought on your guy? Because we don't want to leave him out of this before we move on to Jordan Love and what we saw with him against the Lions. With Justin Fields and what we saw, like we mentioned, played well enough to win. I think he was not the issue in this game.
Justin Fields was not the problem. What do you know, right? I think the number one thing that stands out, though, right? Obviously, Justin Fields. It's offensive coordinator Tanner Engstrand. Like the way he was able, and we've talked about this on the show, and I've talked about this a lot. If Justin Fields has an offense that is built around his skill set, which is not just throwing the ball deep every time or in the middle of the field or anything like that, but it's the run game. And I was just really specifically impressed with the different ways that Tanner Engstrand was able to get not only Justin Fields to carry the ball, but just the run game in general. We're usually a really stout run defense in Pittsburgh. So the plan in week 1 to already be on that same page. I mean, they scored 32 points. It tied their season high that they had last year. And it's week 1. Now, it won't always look like that, but when Justin Fields had to throw the football, like the throw to Garrett Wilson, they ran double crossers. And he read the safety perfectly. He went through his first read, wasn't there, and he threw a perfectly arcing ball, which I think Justin throws a really good deep ball for everything that he does, over top the defender in Garrett Wilson's arms. It was a perfect throw. And now everything wasn't great, right? There's a couple misreads, but the plan offensively really stuck out to put Justin in a position to succeed.
Yeah. Chase, I went into this game expecting the New York Jets defense to look a lot like what we saw in Detroit. I thought this was going to be a Lions defense, yet I walked away saying that the New York Jets offense looks like the Detroit's offense.
So true.
With their ground game and some of the decisions made. So credit, obviously, offensive coordinator coming from Detroit. That was a bit of a surprise for me, now reflecting back on it.
Yeah,
maybe Dan Campbell should have wanted to keep him as the offense coordinator in Detroit. As we move on to the Lions and the Green Bay Packers, Dianna, I want to start with you with Micah Parsons' impact. I thought the opening, introductions was unbelievable. Matt LaFleur told our Mike Silver that like the hair was standing up on the back of his neck when Micah Parsons got introduced as the final player coming out of the tunnel there in Green Bay. He played 45% of the snaps. And that's all he needed to make a massive impact in this game.
Yeah, I just love that they moved them all around too, right? They're just like, all right, you're not obviously in football shape yet, but we're going to put you all over here just to wreak havoc. And even just watching all the clips and the interviews of him, I was told that he wanted to be in Green Bay. He wanted Philadelphia or Green Bay. Those were his 2 choices when he knew that it was going to be done with Dallas. He wanted Philadelphia because he is from the Pennsylvania area, and he wanted Green Bay because he felt that the Lambeau environment and that Green Bay environment reminded him a lot of his days at Penn State. Right. So just seeing him embrace the moment and seeing those fans as well. And if you haven't had a chance to read the article that James just mentioned, Mike Silver's piece, he got Matt LaFleur in his office to basically open up about what that entire day was having Micah Parsons. And did he call him an aura farmer?
Yeah, which is an actual negative thing.
I know. And credit to Silver, who does not have TikTok, because I send him TikToks all the time and he always writes me back, I don't have TikTok. it could be a bad thing, but LaFleur meant it as the guy's got swag, right?
Yes.
That's all. That's what for our age group. It's the guy just has a presence about him, and he seems happy.
Our age group, I'm younger than you. What are you talking about?
Wait,
I've never told you guys my age. Chase, Jordan Love. There have been expectations heading into this season extremely high. They've been preparing him, if you talk to people there, for this, right? On what they want him to do with the line of scrimmage, how they want him to grow. This has been a process. What did you see from Jordan Love leading a team that many believe is the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC early on?
Yeah, look, when Jordan Love's healthy, he's borderline top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and he showed it. Maybe top 8. Like the way he plays, the growth that he had. I have a hard time really grading his season last year because he was hurt. He was banged up. Like, injuries matter. The smallest injury with quarterbacks matter. That's not an excuse, right? They didn't play well enough last year. They have such a young defensive and offensive team, but it all runs through Jordan Love. And I've seen some people and some analysts like, hey, Green Bay's my Super Bowl pick. Like, Jordan Love's my MVP pick. Like, I'm just like, hold on. Like just relax. But like, what he showed yesterday was a complete control of the offense. They do so much with LaFleur offensively that people don't understand. You have to be extremely bright every single week in LaFleur's system and LaFleur's scheme, and it just runs through Love, and you can just feel the comfort level of him. Like, I'm just watching him in the shotgun and just easily pick up a blitz to the left and easily pick up a blitz to the right. All these shifts, all their motion, their run game is wildly innovative, and just a lot of shifts and motions, and just that's the calling card, and that's who Jordan was. We saw Jordan 2 years ago, the last 10 games of the year, really, really play well. And they played well last year at some point too. But when they're healthy, man, like they played like the best team in the NFC North. Now, we haven't seen the Bears or the Vikings play, but they played like they're one of the better teams in the entire NFC, maybe behind the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's just, it's cool to see that, because there have been expectations. I didn't have sky high expectations for them because I wanted to see if, one, they could stay healthy, two, how that defense would look, and both just pass the test with flying colors.
I think those are fair questions. Injury is always going to be a concern for us with the Packers because we've seen the receivers go down year for year, and obviously Jordan Love. But the fact that this Packers defense absolutely suffocated the Lions, this was supposed to be a really stout Detroit offensive line. Like that's what I'm concerned about with Detroit. I mean, I think we've all noticed that without those two coordinators, something's not right. They even looked different. Their presence out there, it just looked like Green Bay. And I know this is such a basic observation. It just looked like Green Bay wanted it more, right? For week one, the energy that they had, and I'm sure that had something to do with the home crowd. It had something to do with Micah Parsons. Everything was in their favor. But Detroit just didn't have that same edge that we're used to seeing them have on both sides.
Well, that's a great call, because like when I was watching it, I wasn't sure, and I don't want to take anything away from Green Bay because they played great. I wasn't sure if it was like, hey, is Green Bay that good? Or is Detroit just maybe not as good as we thought because of the two coordinator changes? And it does take time. They still have all the talent, right? But the coordinator changes for Detroit, that's what stuck out for me. They didn't look on the same page offensively or defensively. And honestly, like, I love Dan Campbell. Like, I played underneath him, and he was the tight ends coach in 2017 in New Orleans. God, I played forever. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what team was that? I can name your
staff now because
and I don't want to like say he got out coached, but it was just way better planned by Green Bay.
It was. They eliminated Jahmyr Gibbs, which is a big part of that offense. I think the one name we're not mentioning at all is Frank Ragnow, who retires, and that interior of that offensive line in Detroit is just different. Yeah. It's younger. It's not as experienced as it was when he was there. I think that changes things, and I do think we need to give a little bit of a grace period. We know how talented they are. They're two new coordinators. This is week one. Let's see how it develops.
Overreaction.
I know. I was going to say, Chase, we are suckers.
I'm trying to bring us back down here, guys. Just a little bit.
You're the normal one. James is the only fair person to say, I don't know what, Chase and I are taking the cheese here. We're just like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen here?
I feel like I'm more of a fan. And I'm just like, what are we doing?
No, but you're right. Also, this is a really good Packers defense. I mean, it was good last year. Second half of the year, they were really good. And then you add Micah Parsons. It's true. And talking about overreactions and underreactions, Dianna, before we get to break, do we have an overreaction, underreaction on the health of George Kittle before we move forward with what we could be scared about?
Yeah, this could be scary. And it just seems like the injury bug is constantly flying around the San Francisco 49ers team. So he's undergoing some tests. We're going to know more Monday night and maybe even Tuesday morning. But I was told that the 49ers are bracing for him to miss a few games. I don't get the idea that this is going to be a multiple games. I just think it's going to be a few here early in September.
Okay.
That's the hope, right?
Not good.
We'll see how it goes.
Not great. Still a minute before Brandon Ayuk comes back, so we'll see what ends up happening with some pass catchers. Maybe they add somebody. I don't know. More coming up here on Scoop City, presented by eBay. We got our Sundae Scaries coming up. Was it Daniel Jones? Was it Mike McDaniel's defense or offense or entire operation? We got more of that coming up on Scoop City. Welcome back to Scoop City, presented by eBay. I'm here with Chase Daniel, also with the always charismatic, so dialed in, one of the best insiders in the team, Dianna Russini.
Why are you doing that
as well? I don't know. It just sometimes just popped into my head. I just wanted to say it.
It just nothing was said to you in your ear. You're not wearing a IFB, are you?
No, this is just I'm here in this room all by myself.
Chase and I go way back. We love each other.
Heard
you do. All right. Oh, cool.
Listen, we want to talk about our Sundae Scaries. Dianna gets them, actually. She talks about it quite a bit. And here's something that we're going to keep our eye on, that we've had our eye on, and Chase specifically has had his eye on, and that is what's going on with the New York Football Giants. We are 1 week in. We have towels on our heads. We're arguing on the sideline. We had a Russell Wilson performance that left something to the imagination. We can put it that way. And we'll start here with what happened between Malik Neighbors and Brian Daboll. There was an argument on the sideline. Both of them said it's because of how competitive they are, that they both want to win. Malik Neighbors went a lengthy period of time without a catch. Dianna, do we read too much into these things? Do we have the inside look on what happened between these two before we dive into how Jackson Dart plays a part in this?
Look, of course, they're going to say that this was all just competitiveness and frustration with the offense because, look, headed into this game, I had heard that the offense felt very confident with Russell Wilson under center and the position that they were in, because I think the big question has been asked, it's definitely today and maybe even headed into the weekend, why are you starting Russell Wilson over Jackson Dart? And from what I gather, this offense felt good with Wilson running the show, right?
What offense? Hold on. Let me just, before you start, I don't want to, when you say this offense, the coaching staff, the players, the head coach, the owner, I
think it's a collaboration. I know what you're saying because we've all seen the situations where, you've got half the team that thinks that it's this quarterback.
For sure. Yes.
Right?
That's exactly what I'm asking.
I have not heard from somebody in that Giants locker room right now going, banging the drum that Jackson needs to be in there.
Okay.
Russell's had a good game.
Sorry for interrupting.
Could it exist? Possibly, right?
Yeah.
But that's the situation that I'm reading right now, and from even just having conversations there, everyone was on the same page that Russell Wilson was giving them the best chance entering this season.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Then we saw what we saw.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry for interrupting.
What'd you think?
It's just.
You go.
Yeah. I mean, look. Week 1, James, keep me in. I can't overreact. Don't do it. Chase, don't do it. No, I'm going to do it. Look, I just think that, guys, when you draft a quarterback in the first round, I'm going to say the stat again, and I know maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. Last 5 years, when a quarterback's been taken in the first round, the average amount of weeks he sits is 2. He starts in week 3. That's the average. That's like the norm, right? It's not week 3 yet. And look, this I know why they're doing it, and I know why the Giants are not putting Jackson Dart out there. I think Diana's right. I do think right now Russ probably gives them a better chance to win, although he played not too great. We can get into that in a second. And I do think the schedule plays into not playing Jackson Dart right away. However, I'm going to be devil's advocate, and I'm going to say what I've been saying. I really do think that the time is now for Jackson Dart, and that's not being hyperbolic. If you're going to go out there and you're going to put out on film what you put out there, why not have Jackson Dart out there? Why not have him getting the reps? Why not have baptism by fire with him? Because what do we? I just don't see the plan. I know it's 1 week. I do know that. But if Brian Daboll and if Joe Schoen, if they want to keep their jobs at the end of this year, at least show me something and show me some. Hey, we have this to look forward to. Like with Jackson Dart, it doesn't make sense to me that now they're probably going to go with Russell Wilson again, but Dabes was non-committal with Jackson Dart. I just think Jackson Dart, one, brings you an element of the run game, too. Like you saw him in some preseason. He's more athletic at this point in his career than Russ is at this point in his career. And two, I just think I don't want to say inexcusable because it is week one. I just think it's the plan for New York on offense was not right. You do have a good run game, but you have one of the most talented, I'm not going to say best, most talented receivers in the world in Malik Neighbors. I love what Malik Neighbors does. I'm okay with him getting upset on the sideline. Why isn't there a plan in the first 15 when they're going over it and being like, hey, you're getting 3 touches in the first 15, big dog. You're going to be a big part of this game plan every single week. Oh, coach, they're double teaming. Move him in the slot. Move him around. Get some free access. Get him on a bubble. Get the touches up. And because he's the best player on that offense. So I just think it just looked disjointed. It didn't look like there was an absolute plan. I think Russ will end up playing fine if that's the case. I just think Jackson Dart makes a whole lot of sense for where the Giants are going because I don't know if the Giants are a playoff team, even with Russ.
Yeah, what I'm looking at with this, Chase, honestly, is you look at who he played under with Lane Kiffin. You know the offseason he's had with Brian Daboll. You could say he's probably prepared to hit the field more so than some other quarterbacks that come out of college. And when you mention the plan, I think we do have to remember, and I remember talking to Joe Schoen about this at the CU showcase. It's not a pro day, it's a showcase. They went and got Russell Wilson because they couldn't get Stafford, they couldn't get Rodgers, and you needed to get a quarterback before you even knew you were drafting Jackson Dart. Mm-hmm. They had him for a month before they even knew Jackson Dart was going to be on their team. So they spent $10 million on an insurance policy that could essentially, your plan could change and your timeline could change. What stands out to me, Dianna, the most is when Malik Neighbors says the energy wasn't right. So I took it upon myself to boost the people up. What I kept hearing was the tempo, the energy, the pace of the offense was just different with Jackson Dart. Didn't we hear that each and every time he took the field?
Yeah, running up tempo.
That's the thing that I read into, guys, when you hear players usually know, players in a locker room know. Is there anything to that, Dianna? You think that they want a spark? And he can move behind the line of scrimmage much more than Russell Wilson right now with a line that's kind of shaky.
From a personality standpoint, Jackson Dart is perfect for Brian Daboll, right? They both are kind of emotional in a good way, right? They're fiery. This makes sense. The marriage of Jackson Dart and Brian Daboll could work. And from everything I've heard this preseason, it's working. Even the idea of Brian Daboll going up to him and saying, I love you. I mean, granted, he throws the I love yous around a lot with his quarterbacks. So they obviously have something there. I just think this is about timing. I think the schedule that we've pointed to, I know that the quarterback room, I know we talk about Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston for a lot of different reasons, but in terms of having the right quarterback room, back to the theme that we had with Zach Kiefer as well, is really strong. They love this quarterback room because they're helping Jackson Dart. We're going to see Jackson Dart. There's no question about that.
Before Halloween?
But man, we do have that, don't we? Damn.
Yes, it's going to be yes.
But can I interject really quickly and just say, we keep talking about the schedule. And I know we've talked about it a lot.
It's the worst.
The Cowboys defense, are you terrified of putting Jackson Dart out against that, Chase?
Not without Micah, no.
Are you terrified to take him against the Chiefs defense that you just saw in St. Paul?
No, it's Spags, bro. He's going to blitz him to death. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And then the Chargers, I think Jesse Minter is outstanding.
Hell yes.
And then you have the Saints.
No.
So 2 of the 4 out of the next 4 games, you're not terrified putting him out there.
No, I guess I just don't see the plan. I think that's the, and Dianna, I know you're up there. I just don't see the plan.
Give me the fear of putting Jackson Dart in for this upcoming game.
Yeah.
What do they have?
They got Cowboys. So first of all, division opponent, right? Like it is different. I would say Dallas doesn't scare me defensively because Matt Eberflus is a 4-3 cover 4 guy that'll bring some nickel star pressure off the slot. Like I think of it as like, it's not really what the defense scares me just like player wise.
Yeah.
It's what the defensive coordinator does to the offense. Like when you're talking Spags and you're talking Minter, like Spags to me, like you're going to spend the whole week worrying about your third down protection plan. And then, oh, by the way, he might not even blitz that game. How can I get protected? How do I know where my all that stuff mentally, Dianna, I think that's the biggest issue, right? That you would see with any rookie, forget about just Jackson Dart, any rookie quarterback facing a pressure heavy defense like the Vikings or the Chiefs or like even Minter at times, right? When you put them out the Cowboys, it's like, all right, like, yeah, it's just good players. You're going to get cover 4, you're going to get cover 2, and then a couple snaps of pressure. Like it's a very basic vanilla defense, and that's not saying anything about Eber. It's just they play what they play and they do it really well.
Yeah.
Versus a Spags is like, hey, okay, flip card. Let me just here. Okay, flip card. Nope. Let me do that. Let me do double edge. Like it's just a lot on a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's all fair. And that's what Brian Dable's thinking about, right?
1,000%. And your game plan changes, right, Dianna, with a rookie quarterback. You can't be as aggressive. You got to throw screens. You got to do this. You got to maybe on 3rd and 10 try to hit him with a trap. With Russell Wilson, he's seen everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing he hasn't seen. And so you feel way more comfortable with game planning offensively for a team like the Chiefs if you do have Russell Wilson. However, you still got to go do it. You got to make the plays.
Yeah. Well, you know who made a lot of plays? Daniel Jones and the Colts offense.
What was that?
This was a scary situation if you're a Dolphins fan. I saw Josh Gad, the voice of Olaf. We all should know we have kids. He just said, if I wish something upon anybody, it's that they don't grow up a Dolphins fan like me. He put that out after the game. It was a rough watch if you were a Dolphins fan. And, man, it came out of nowhere maybe for some Colts fans when they go out there and score on, I believe, every single possession. All 7 offensive possessions. First team to do it since 1978 in a game.
Can we just give a slow clap for Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen? Like we've been like Ballard's my guy, but we've sort of been on him about it. It looks
they made the right move.
They made the right move.
Giving him more money.
Like they made the right move. It's one game overreaction.
Overreaction, but I mean, we had heard at camp that Daniel Jones was going to win the job, right? We talked about it on the show. How much do you think just the idea that this organization is moving past the Anthony Richardson situation and just going, now let's just focus on this? Like, that's where I see the future of the Colts being in the positive, because I don't want to say that the Richardson stuff can be distracting, but it felt muddy, right? Like, what is this? Is he the guy?
It can be distracting. I'll say it. It's absolutely distracting. What are you talking about?
Now, I think it's very clear. There is no doubt that Daniel Jones is the starter.
Yeah, for week 1.
Back to that again.
For week 2, No, Diane, I think you're right. I think there is a distraction standpoint to it, and I do think like anytime a front office. I mean, James, you can chime in on like anytime a front office or a head coach like stand on the table and take a quarterback so high and it not work out, like that's rough. Like, but I love what like Kyle Shanahan did. He was like, bro, Trey Lance, you ain't there. Let's trade him away. Let's just move on. And they hit with Brock Purdy. I'm not saying they're going to hit with Daniel Jones, but at least it gives you a competent quarterback that can go out there and at least, I look, I don't know about the game plan stuff or how smart Anthony Richardson, so I don't want to say that, but like Shane Steichen can run his offense. His full offense.
That's what I want to get
Daniel
to,
Jones.
Chase. Like Shane Steichen's a good play caller. Shane Steichen's a good play caller.
1,000%. And James, I saw yesterday what Shane Steichen did with Jalen Hurts. What was it, 3 years ago or 2 years ago? It looked 3 years ago. It looked similar to that offense because Daniel Jones is a very, very athletic runner and can run around and move around. It looks similar. And I think that's sort of what Shane Steichen wants to be, is that year with Jalen Hurts and the QB run game, and they run a lot of sail routes, they run a lot of dig routes in the middle of the field. These play action double move shots, Michael Pittman throw was awesome, and then Dianna, your guy, right, Tyler Warren, like dude looked
everywhere,
magnificent, right?
Yeah, it was so balanced.
And the thing is, we had heard some good things about that, right? About Tyler Warren headed into the season, coming out of camp. There was a lot of buzz about him. But 7 for 76, to me, he was the star of that offense. And I think what surprised me about the Colts is not so much that Daniel Jones performed at the level he did, is they just look like a complete team for coming out week one. I don't think any of us expected that. We don't even really talk about them that much outside of just the quarterback position. And then obviously we'll touch on Miami here in a second.
Well, is it the defense, James, or is it Miami's offense that bad?
Oh boy.
It's pick your poison. It seems like what's happened in Miami. Real quick, I do want to say I love the balance that was there. You mentioned 7 for 76 for Tyler Warren lining up everywhere. Then you have Michael Pittman, 6 for 71. Then you have Jonathan Taylor carrying the ball for 71 yards on 18 carries. It's like they kind of were really balanced. My understanding is he also changed a lot of things at the line of scrimmage on his own in terms of protections, Daniel Jones did. So he ran it the way you wanted to run it. With Miami, what did we see this offseason, Dianna? And I'm kind of curious where we're going to go with this, because we were told that a cultural change was something they're trying to do, get malcontent type of players out of the locker room, and that's something that they believe that they accomplished. I'm curious if this is going to be a team we're going to keep our eye on through the first portion of this season, because they got beat on both sides. And what we had seen continuously was that if Tua was healthy with Mike McDaniel, the offense runs well. It does when he's healthy. And this is the first game of the season. And there's, 3 turnovers, I think it was? So should we be keeping an eye on Miami? And is it a seat that's already hot after 1 week, and it's not because, it's still early
this is when I
end of summer in Miami?
When I pull up a team's schedule during the game, that always tells me, that probably means my instincts are saying make calls, because you take a look at the Dolphins' schedule. They've got the Patriots, and then they play on a Thursday night game against the Bills in Buffalo. And look, they have a chance to beat the Patriots because we saw what that looked like. And their schedule's not great. But I had heard over the summer that their defense was the bright spot, actually. And I know what you're saying about Tua and Mike McDaniel, but in terms of some of the young players on that side of the ball. And then you saw what you saw against the Colts. And now
they kept the coordinator.
So look, I don't have intel that ownership is looking at this as, if Mike doesn't win, he's getting fired by Halloween. But how could you look at that performance? How could you look at what they put together, the game planning? And he claimed that they did tons of work before it. It's got a bad vibe feel. It doesn't seem right. And we knew this going into the season. I don't think any of us were high on. I don't know anyone who was high on Miami.
Yeah.
I think, we could, not saying that we all get it right. We're all wrong a lot, but it's hard to find anyone that covers football at a high level that was picking the Miami Dolphins as a team that was going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be one to watch.
They just looked off. Like in all phases, like just not prepared. And who does that start with, right? You want to think, and it starts with the head coach. Like, and I think he's a great head coach, or good head coach. It's just one of those things when your team's not ready to play, and you go on the road against Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts, and you get 12 first downs, you have 211 total yards, and you only have the ball for 21 minutes. Like, it's just, I'm with you on the bad vibes. It was not good at all.
Yeah. Well, it involves the Sundae Scaries, and hopefully they don't continue into week 2. Listen, more to come on Scoop City, presented by eBay. We're going to talk about our favorite debuts, whether it was a coach in a new spot, a player that's changed teams, or perhaps a rookie who stood out to us in week 1. That coming up next. All right, closing things out on a Monday here, Scoop City, presented by eBay. We're going to finish up with our favorite debuts, whether it was a coach with a new team, whether it was a player who's prominent that changed organizations, or perhaps a rookie that was making their NFL debut who stood out to us, because there was a lot of shuffling going on. Dianna, who's a new scoop for you?
Shuffling for me, my big scoop of chocolate peanut butter. That's my favorite ice cream flavor. It goes to Liam Coen.
Peanut butter?
The Jacksonville Jags, man, guys.
Okay.
They had such a balanced attack. We saw Travis Etienne have a 100-yard game. Trevor Lawrence hit 7 different receivers.
Oh.
I didn't see that coming. I know that there was a lot of belief and confidence that Liam can come in there and lift this offense up a bit. I wasn't expecting to look that good. And look, one of my favorite parts about seeing this team out there was them celebrating after a lot of these touchdowns. I haven't seen the Jags this happy. It feels like in a really long time. So it seems like they've got something good cooking there. And maybe the Trevor Lawrence story that we talk about on the show all the time. Is he good? Remember, Chase, I think all last season I kept saying, is he good? I don't know. Is he good? I kept asking. Maybe this is the season where we say, yes, he's really good. He's a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
So credit to Liam, week 1, taking care of business. Not a great Panthers team. I get it. But at least you're coming out of the gate looking like you have prepared and you have a clue.
Look, I love that they won, right? But they scored 2 offensive touchdowns. And Trevor Lawrence, 178 yards, 5.7 yards in attempt, a touchdown and interception. Like, I like that they won.
You had like a little couple weird.
I know, but like, yeah, look, it's a win. I just want to like hold the horses. Trevor Lawrence. My scoop, Cam Ward. It might be a half scoop, but like anytime you go on the road to the Denver Broncos, James, you were at that game, right?
I was there.
And like, he didn't look great, but that defense, I'm telling you, the defense that the Broncos have, we were at training camp, Dianna, James. It is another level. Like, it's just so hard to operate at quarterback against a defense like that. He was disjointed a little bit, but he looked comfortable. The processing has to speed up, right? It's the first game. I get that. But to go on the road and the Broncos didn't really close it out till the very end. To have a chance to like stay in that game, and I think it was an 8-point game, right? And he had the ball in his hands. And
Calvin Ridley gets a drop over the middle.
2 drops. Two drops.
Yeah.
I know the stats, and I know like it didn't look good offensively for the Titans. They got something in Cam Ward, though. Like the comfort level standing back there. And I've been in the same situation as he has in Denver versus a really good defense. And to stand in there and just still like deliver, try throws where I'm like, oh my gosh, but it like fits it in. Like it's just there's hope. There's hope that it's going to be good against not a great defense, because I think the Denver Broncos defense is pretty great.
Yeah, I think it's pretty great. And every week you're not going to face somebody that's going to shadow Calvin Ridley the way Pat
100%.
Surtain did, the reigning defensive player of the year, and take out your favorite weapon that's been your favorite weapon throughout your first training camp. And the guy that makes you feel good just wasn't there for most of the game. Yeah, I agree. Talking to people with them, Chase, being at that game, they feel like they have that part figured out. They feel like they have to turn a culture. They feel like they have to turn this lineup over a sense, but they do feel like they got the quarterback. I think that's part of this for sure. Mine is going to be Emeka Egbuka from The Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Had to go with a fellow Buckeye. Put up a 70 burger, by the way, this weekend on Grambling State. But listen, I don't know if we've talked about a lot of receivers coming into this league. We've seen a lot of receivers make massive impacts in their rookie season. We were talking a ton about Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., like guys that have come out polished and played well. But I don't know if we've talked about a receiver over the last couple of years when I talked to evaluators of like a guy who's coming out with the football IQ, the maturity, the intelligence, the feel for the game, the unselfishness, everything walking into a wide receiver room. When you have a guy like Mike Evans that says like, I'm blown away that this kid is a rookie and this is his first NFL game, and that Baker Mayfield looks to him to win the game with the game on the line and hits him down the seam there, and he gets his second touchdown of the game. I mean, just a great route. Chase, can you take us through any of what you saw from him as a receiver?
Just couldn't ask for a better debut, right? Like I felt like he was talked about, but then like he was like in Tampa, so then it wasn't talked about. But then like you talk about like that receiving core down there, like in Tampa, like Godwin, Evans, Emeka Egbuka, like and Baker, like no one's talking about this Tampa Bay team, and it's just Bucks. I mean, Baker just keeps showing up, dude, time and time and time again. So it also just like if Emeka Egbuka can like get to a point where you're taking coverage away from Godwin, or you're taking coverage away from Mike Evans, or if the coverage is going there, you have 3 legitimate receivers, even though he's a rookie. Like, I've heard his head's on straight. He's smart. He does everything right. It was cool to see. And on the road, dude, it's not too big for him. I thought it was great.
You can't let the Bucs hang around. They're one of those.
No.
They're going to come. I mean, I want to see what Baker does, but I feel like he has now put together more seasons playing at this kind of level that we have to talk about him being one of the best quarterbacks in football.
Yeah, I'm with you.
The whole team has taken his identity, right? Just grip it and rip it and just kind of play that way. And I love that you're talking about the receiver room, Chase, because honestly, you look at what Emeka Egbuka did as he was kind of the guy for a moment, and then Jeremiah Smith comes in at Ohio State last year, and what ends up happening? He's cool playing the complement. He's cool getting other guys open, and he has another one in a GOAT in Mike Evans that he's playing with. It was a really cool debut for a guy that I think Jason Light drafts really, really well. Tremendous Monday, everybody. Anybody have a closing thought, final thought? Howard, I can say you said it all. Stern's done at XM, so maybe anybody have a final thought?
It's official, huh?
It's official. Parting ways with XM, the king of all media.
Is he going to come back to radio?
I don't know. You should just go back to over-the-air radio. Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith took his job, huh?
Another job?
He's running for president.
He works a lot. He works more than you guys.
Ouch.
That's true.
Okay. It was wonderful on a Monday, everybody. It was great. We'll see when Jackson Dart plays. Take it easy.
Thanks for watching Scoop City. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. New episodes of Scoop City drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.